Salutations and shit, guys. Welcome to another episode of Travel and Shit. I'm your host, D. Carrie. Yeah, I was gonna say, can you turn down the mic a little bit? I mean, the my headphones. It's just okay. I feel like I'm shouting at myself. Hi, guys.
Yeah.
So, what's poppin'? Welcome back. I'm happy that you're here. Thank you guys for fucking with me this far, and I hope you continue to fuck with the
Um,
kid. Um, I have a guest this week. I got tired of like long intros, so just gonna jump into it. So, welcome, guest. Thank you for joining me. Please introduce yourself.
oh, you ready for me? My bad. Lex 911. What's popping? What's popping?
Welcome to Travel and Shit. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I appreciate your what's the word I'm looking for? Not patronage, not support, but your presence. There we go. There we go. All right, so
Right.
I listen to a ton of other podcasts, right? And I was just listening to what was it? Snap Judgment. On Snap Judgment, there was one episode where they were talking to a bunch of guys that came out of San Quentin, and I was like, damn, these niggas got like incredible stories. And I can't hear anything. And I had a bunch of questions that I knew I personally wanted to ask myself of people that have been in jail because I feel like travel is not necessarily one of those things that should or can be like confined to an individual realm of like vacation or luxury. Like there are many different tiers to travel. Like there are different tiers to love. Like there are different types of love. I feel like there are different types of travel. So I was wondering, fuck, I wonder what it's like to actually travel through the prison system. And lo and behold, Shaw came through for the kid and had someone I could talk to about it. And here we
Right.
are. So
Right.
let's start with an introduction. Who the fuck are you?
Well, I'm a Queens-based artist, Lex 911. Been around for a little bit. Um, uh, it's obvious. I'm just now coming home from a little federal stint. My sentence was 8 years. Just now getting back into the loop of things.
Welcome home.
But I don't know how much I told you already, but like I've
Nothing.
been around for a while making music.
I know nothing. But I know I've heard your name before, but otherwise I don't. This is where you
Okay.
come in. What do you feel about yourself? What do you want the people to know? Like what would you want to portray about yourself?
I mean, portray. Well, it's basically when I'm just putting out there me, and for years it's just been putting my life you know in the music and just putting it out there. Like everything that everybody know about me personally. You know what I'm saying? The type of person I am. I'm from the streets. I like to have fun. Been in the mix of a whole lot of other shit. Been in the mix of a whole lot of money and a lot of bullshit. So that's where the time came from. But it's just I'm just putting that into the music and just exploiting my lifestyle a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Come from a lot of sacrifices and a lot of decisions that I had to make. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's success story is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people they don't even have a story. They just, it's just music is there and then it's just like that's it. But I'm one of them artists that have a story that follows them. You know what I'm saying? So basically that's my mission now that I'm home and with this second chance to actually make something of it is basically just making that as vivid as possible. So to the following that I have now and plan on accumulating.
Okay. So I got a shit ton of questions. And I also had
Mhm.
a couple people send in some questions. So my first one was, what was your first arrest?
My first arrest,
Like when did you first get arrested and for what?
I was young. Robbery. I think it was the first. Uh, yeah, I think the first time I got arrested was a robbery. I was young. I
What's
was
young?
underage. It was just like robbing the gas station. Just on some silly
What's
young
young
kid
though?
shit.
Like 8 young or like 14 young?
Nah, probably about like 15.
Okay.
Probably like 15.
So
You
how
know,
do you figure you ended up doing that? Like what were you Would you
Just being too comfortable in my environment. That's all that was.
okay.
That particular.
What was your environment? Where
And
you from? Like what part of Queens?
I'm from Jamaica, Queens, but I grew up on two different sides. I come from a split home. My mom's from the north side, my pop's from the south side.
Mhm.
So, you know, depending on what and when, I have a different story for you. You get what I'm saying? But this particular arrest, which I believe is my first one. I'm trying to think. I've got arrested a few times, but that one was on Springfield Boulevard. Just being comfortable where I'm from, just running around doing whatever I want because everybody older knows you, and you just, you know what I'm saying?
Got
It's
it.
the same gas station, the stores you walk in 100 times a day. And it was just like we was on bullshit one night, went in there and got to arguing, and then it turned into a give me what I want, and police pulling up on us and booking us.
Got it. So, what was your perception of jail before that? Like, what did you think of it? Was it something that you were ever afraid of, worried about? Did you consider that you would go to jail? Did it pose
Nah,
as like
that's
something?
that ain't never been in my mind. I don't think that ever really plays too much in anybody's mind.
What
You know what I'm saying?
doesn't? Being
Like you
afraid
don't
to go
sit
to
there and
jail,
just
or
make up and imagine, what your situation would be like in prison. I know for me, I haven't. I've never even thought about it. No matter how much I put myself out there, but at risk, I never thought about how prison was going to be for me.
in
You
the
know what I'm
sense?
saying?
Do you mean that in the sense of you never thought you would get caught and go to jail, or you just never
I,
thought?
it's always a chance, but it's just I never wasted energy on thinking how my life
Ah,
would be in prison. I just never cared to think of that.
okay,
People say, "Yo, stack for a rainy day." I was one of the people that didn't give a fuck about a rainy day. You know what I'm saying? I didn't plan to fail. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it and get away with it. Like I got away with a lot of shit in my life. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Everybody
But
does.
I've never, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I just never like, damn, man. Like I think when reality hit to the point where I knew I was going,
Hmm.
then I thought about it differently. You know what I'm saying? But when I was young and just out there and getting in trouble, it was just like, I'm good. Like even with that little robbery shit, like I knew I wasn't going to jail.
Okay.
I was young, it was petty. I knew I was going to the bookings and my pops was gonna pick me up. And I was more afraid of what my pops was gonna say than anything else.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But once I got older and started and I caught serious crimes, you know what I'm saying? You start to probably think a little bit about it differently once you're in this situation of like, yo, I'm probably on my way to prison for real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So there's a difference for those of you that don't know between jail and prison. So if you would explain to the people what the difference is.
Um, well, in my opinion, the difference is, jail is just like I said, it's like the county level. Jail is the short stint, just
Hmm.
you sitting there waiting to see the judge to get out. You get what I'm saying? And prison is just to me is like the whole community of actual incarceration. Like when you for one, you're sitting down for real time, and for two, there's it's it's the community. It's the environment and how it's structured. You
What
get
do you
what
mean by
I'm
that?
saying? Like you have libraries, you have weight rooms, you have yards, you have mess halls, you have dorms. You have movement. It's police. It's different because you can go to jail and it just be like, all right, you're stuck in this dorm for 8 months, no movements, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, like in my opinion, that's the big difference. Prison to me is just like this is the lifestyle. This is life. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not a short stay. This is life, and get used to it. Get comfortable. Like you're not just here to just sit still and do nothing. You're here to do this time and make something of it.
So what's the, I guess is there a layout difference in the two? Like, is jail for okay, so here's a good one. Is it like it looks on TV? Like you see just a little cell. It's a bed like if I used to watch Oz with my brother.
A
And
lot of a
in
lot of that
Oz,
shit is. Mhm.
okay, so it's like a cell, two beds, toilet, sink, that's it.
It depends.
Hmm.
It depends, but that is definitely one of the structures of some prisons. You get what I'm saying? Like I was in the feds on this one, so it's just like on different levels and different prisons is structured different. You might have a whole dorm with cubes, and it'd be 75 different people in there to 125 different people. Then you have some prisons that have rooms, and it might be a 6-man room, or it might be a 12-man room, it might be a 2-man room. And you also have the cells, where it's the 2-man room, like you said, the toilet and a shower, and bunk beds and shit like that.
Do they essentially
It
look the
depends.
same? Like
Hmm?
from in terms of jail versus prison, do like the accommodations look the same?
No, no. It's like I did time on Rikers Island,
Mm-hmm.
and that 8 months I was on Rikers Island seemed almost longer than the 6 years and change I did in the feds, because it's just different. It's like you're just there in a big dome, and it's just nothing to do at all. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're stuck unless you got a job. You're just there, and you're just counting days. You get what I'm saying? It's miserable. That is Rikers Island's like, well, where I was on the island, because then there's different buildings,
Right.
and it's also a different structure there too, because you have some guys that got cells, and like I said, it's dorms and stuff like that. But um, yeah, it's definitely different. I ain't gonna lie, I prefer to do the bid the way I did than having to do that amount of time in you know in that kind of environment.
So I guess you kind of answered the next question I had. Yeah, the first major difference you noticed between jail and prison, I'm assuming, like you said, would be like the communities, the way there's nothing to do versus actually something to do. Is there anything else to the way the community would be set up other than how it is, I guess, oriented in a way for you to do the time? Are the people different? Are the COs different? Are like the rules different? How does that work?
Yeah, it, it is different. Um, in my experience, when you go fed, you're around a whole bunch of people from different places,
Mm.
different cultural backgrounds. You got New York, you got Pennsylvania, you got California. You get mixed up compared to, if you go to state prison, 9 times out of 10, you in there with everybody that's from that state.
Mm-hmm.
And you might find a few people that's from different places. So the mix up with people is different. Um, the COs, it all depends where you're at. I've been to places to where the COs just hate you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in the mountains, they just hate you. It gets real. You can feel the tension, the racial tension. Then, but when you go to Rikers Island, shit like that, it's everybody from the hood. You get what I'm saying? Like I have a whole bunch of CEOs in my phone store right now because those are homies. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like graduated, they was like they need a job, they took a test, got it, and now they working on the island. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's just like it's, it's,
Same.
it's guys just like us that works there. So it's different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when you start going to like I said, my experience when you're dealing with the feds and you're shipped all over the place, you deal with different type of people.
So
People that's not familiar with who you are or where you're from, and just really they just don't give a fuck.
I was gonna ask
You know what
you,
I'm saying?
why would they
Hmm.
care?
Hmm. Because no, I say that because I've met some good people in prison
Mm-hmm.
who don't judge you because you in there because you're doing time.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Of
Because
course, good people do fucked up shit.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, excluding the sick motherfuckers out there that's doing these wild sick little crimes, but when you got majority of the system is filled up with guys that was trying to do for their families.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of
Situational
that's where the
crimes.
politics is now. Yeah, that's where the politics is now when it comes to these drug crimes and everything. It's like a lot of these guys is locked up for just trying to get money, how they figured out how they can get money,
Mm-hmm.
cheating the government. You get what I'm saying? So just like me, there's a lot of other men whose brothers, their fathers, their sons, you know, everything, just like them. You get what I'm saying?
Of course.
And we used to have have arguments here and there, like when you get into it with the staff that's there, like when they want to be on bullshit, because you have some staff that see you when they come to see you on the visit floor and they see you got a wife, you got kids, you got a mother and father, you got family that's coming to see you. Some of them don't even have that at home.
Right.
But these are the same ones that judge you and just feel like you scum of the earth. But it's like obvious,
Saying
like
with more than they got.
I'm not, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's obvious that I'm not scum of the earth when you see this kind of support system.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, like I said, I came across a few people that's real good people. You know what I'm saying? Like even to the point where some of them, you know, like I did time in Atlanta, and when I passed through, you know, you got a couple officers there that you know when they kick it with you, they like you, and like for
Right.
me, they like yo, son, like you remind me a lot of like you know my nephews and shit like that. So I know you're new to the city, so when you get out here, if you need a job or something, you know, give me a call. You got guys like that.
Right.
You know, CEOs like that. And they, like I said, you got the CEOs that just don't give a fuck. They walk around, they look at you funny. And just like how we go through the profiling on the streets and stop and frisk, that's how they do it on the compounds too.
Right.
With you know a lot of the legal shit and stuff that goes on the compound. So it's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother world.
How did you end up going away for so long?
This particular case, I got caught up in the conspiracy. There was multiple guys. And in my case, I was the least culprit. There wasn't too much on me at all, really. And it was just I was basically trying to be used as the one to be able to give them information on what was going on, and I didn't. So I was forced to just take whatever it is that they wanted to give me.
Right.
You know, because you know my case is public, so it's just like anybody be able to see it. But it's just like for that amount of money and to see how many times my name was actually mentioned in it, and then compare it to the amount of time I got, like fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what all the homies and everybody say. You know, and I think Shati can even co-sign that. You know, but I basically got caught up in a conspiracy, a money crime, and the way the time was handed down was my right hand co-defendant and who I was doing my music with. He ended up with 156 months. I ended up with 96 months, and I had another co-defendant that ended up with 77. And then there was another one who wound up getting I think 48 months.
That's the only number I was able to break down into actual years.
48? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's the longest span that you've done?
That.
Okay. How many different facilities? Was it across one facility or?
No, I was in multiple facilities. And the feds is different. Like when you're going through something that they call transit, you might make multiple stops before you get to where you're going to do your actual time.
Okay.
My case was out of North Carolina, so I sat in the county for about 10
North
months.
Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
In North Carolina. I sat in that county for about 10 months in North Carolina. And then once I was sentenced, I was shipped to Virginia. Spent about a week in Virginia. And then I was shipped to another place in Virginia. I was there for about 2 weeks. Then I went from that to Philadelphia. Then from Philadelphia, I went to Brooklyn. And between those two spots, I think I might have did a week in both of those places. Then I went back to Pennsylvania and I was there for about a month. Then I finally got to where I was doing my first, like where I, you know, I can unpack, I can unwind and move around that, you know, the community I was telling you about. So it took me about 2 months to finally get to where I was doing my time at.
Do they explain why you do that?
Huh?
Do they explain why they do that? Like, to me, that doesn't
No,
make sense, but I don't know if there's a reason.
No, they don't never explain it, but everybody's situation different because they got something called like diesel therapy. Like if there's something about you in the system and they feel like they need to get some get right out of you, you could spend a whole year on the road. Like I used to crack jokes like, yeah, I'm on tour.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because you'll be in one place for a month or two, then they ship you somewhere else. You there for about a month or two, then they ship you somewhere else. Then they ship you somewhere else, so where you're not getting comfortable. And they do that to break you down.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And then the feds is like, it's kind of like how you see it on TV, but then it's not like how you see it on TV. But they just think somebody's always up to something. So it's just like, man, if we just book them here and then take them straight to where he's going, it's easy to figure out. Somebody might try to break them out. So let's fly them around in circles and then finally get them to where they need to go.
Oh, that was another question. So how do they transport you? Do you fly or do you like ride a bus?
Both. You
Really?
fly and
How do you fly? Like just like a normal passenger? Are you cuffed? Like how does that work?
Cuffed, and then depending on your situation, you could be cuffed different. But me personally, I was cuffed at the ankles, cuffed around the waist, cuffed on the wrist. You wear paper suits. It doesn't matter what the weather is. I done been out there on that tarmac, 30 degrees in a snowstorm with a t-shirt on and socks. You get what I'm saying? Getting rained on. They don't care. Then they put you on a plane and the AC is booming and you in there shaking.
And now it's a regular commercial flight?
They got their Con Air.
Okay. Interesting.
It's not called Con Air, but we call it Con Air. It's not like they pulling up in the Delta or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? You might pull up in a regular airport, but you'll pull up off to the side and then have the flag on it, on a wing.
I totally forgot Con Air was a movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like that.
Shit. Now I got this, and now I'm gonna go back and watch the shit. I got weekend plans now. So when you did okay, but I'm conflating two questions. Part of it is the time that you spent moving around so much. It was all for the one case. Is that the only time you had been locked up before? Is that the only time you did like a long stint, or like had you done time before this one time?
I've done jail time. I did 8 months on Rikers Island before. That was an old gun charge that I had back when I was younger. But other than that, I've had other cases to where I might have beat or had dropped down to no jail time and maybe had to just stay out of trouble for a year or so, whatever, wasted money. But that was definitely my bid. That was the bid, the Fed bid. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So which facility would you say was like the worst experience? Or did you have long enough time?
Nobody likes the county. I spent the year in a box. I kind of count that as a location because it should. It might have not changed facilities, but it's an experience.
So where were you in the box?
I was in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was cool. See, my bid kind of worked out good for me. And like how prison guys talk, the terminology is like, yeah, you broke your bid up. Now, when I say I broke my bid up, it's because I was able to do a little bit of time multiple different ways. So my time was able to flow a little bit different. Like some people be like, yo, son, that time, I don't know how it felt for you, but that shit seemed like it flew by. And I'm like, no, it did. But you have your moments to where the shit seemed like it's taking forever. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I did 10 months in the county. Then I went to Pennsylvania and I did about 2 years, minus, I guess, like 3 months in the box. But then at the end of those 2 years being there, I sat in their box for 11 months.
And where? At the Pennsylvania?
In Pennsylvania.
So you were in the box 2 different times at 2 different locations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like within my first year at the prison I was at, I got booked for some bullshit. Got into it with police. And I did like close to 90 days. So that was the first time I did it. Got out, everything's all good. And then from December 1st, 2015 to October 2016, I was in a box.
That's a
in
long fucking.
Pennsylvania.
That's like a year. How the fuck you
Yeah,
end up?
almost.
What happened the second time? And what's
The second time, what it was, is a lot of politics in prison. I got caught up in the politics. I was well known there. And basically what happened, I was a tutor. You know, they make you get jobs and everything. I was a tutor. I was helping guys with their GED and shit. However, the demographics on the compounds are similar everywhere, but just a little different. And when I say that, I mean like when it comes to the crimes and when it comes to you know, where everybody's from. You know, that's the only thing that really changes. And on compounds in the feds, a lot of the guys with certain type of crimes have certain type of jobs.
okay?
If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying. So the particular job I had, a lot of the child molesters,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the trans, and a lot of the gay inmates have those type of jobs, right?
The tutor jobs.
So yeah, like the tutor, like anything tutor, library, landscaping,
Okay.
you know, and what happens is when you're when you in those position for those type of jobs, they're even trying to get you out of it, you know, or they're trying to be the ones to try to boss you around because they feel like those are supposed to be their jobs, if it makes sense to you. You get what I'm saying?
Now, who is they? Other inmates or?
The group that I just named.
Oh,
Like
the okay the
yeah,
outliers, the LGBTQ and including the child molesters because they are
it's
not
like the different like
necessarily the same
because
demographic.
yeah, like
To be clear about.
certain groups of people just feel like certain jobs are supposed to be theirs.
Got it. Okay, so they
Like
were trying to fuck with you because they didn't feel like you belonged in their group, if you will.
because none of them worked in the tutor circle that I worked in.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what happened? Me and a couple other guys they was basically dropping notes, and dropping notes means somebody was telling the story, snitching, and putting it up underneath the warden's door.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, basically, they were saying I had a relationship going on with female staff that was there, the woman that I was working for. So
Okay.
it started an investigation. So, and in that investigation, it's not like you can just do your time and then they come get you whenever they feel like questioning. No, they put you in a box and they take forever to come sit down and tell you anything. And at the end of it, I didn't get written up for nothing. I just got shipped off to somewhere else because they had no facts on nothing.
Oh.
And everybody explains, like, look, this is what goes on this compound. And you got these guys that did this. Go get them. Why they not being investigated? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I basically had to deal with that. And it just complicated a lot for my time. But like I said, I had a lot of dudes like, oh, you was able to break up your time.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, what exactly is the box? What exactly is the box? For somebody that doesn't know what the box is.
The box is basically a shoe. That's just, you know, the solitary confinement. You know, you're in there with a bunk, maybe two. You might have a shower in there with a little sink, and it's 23-1. You get an hour of rec every day, but you in that bitch all day. You ain't getting out on the weekends. Mm-hmm. You know, they give you a jumpsuit and they give you a pair of drawers. And 3 days out the week they come around and they'll swap it out for you. You know, they swap out everything from toothbrush to soap to, and you're not eating good. You know, different places do different things too. Mm-hmm. You got some places who actually let you order off the commissary and have things, and then you have places that they don't.
Okay.
And put it this way, every time I went to the box, I lost 20 pounds every time. You know, but going through that, once I finally got to another compound, I was shipped to Ohio. Once I made it there, that made that time go by so fast and smooth because I got so acclimated to the slow bit, the slow 11 months I just had. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's like every time I'm up and I'm moving around, next thing, oh shit, it's 4:00. Oh shit, it's 9:00. Oh, the day's over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my bid was broken up a little bit. Because then after that, I bounced around probably like 3 more times.
So
I moved since 2016. I think I moved to maybe 3-4 different places.
So you had been in jail, well, in prison for what, like a year before you ended up going to the box? Or at least for the long extended time that you had done it.
The
Right?
long time, I say 2 years. Because I got locked up. I left January 2013. And December 1st, 2015 is when that long stint started.
So how much time? So you had spent the 8 months in Rikers, and then you had spent the
No, not. What you mean on this bit?
I think.
The 8 months.
The
8 months
was
Rikers
separate. That was the gun charge. That was a gun charge.
Yeah, that was another thing. I spent the 10 months in the county.
Right.
And then I did the 2 months in transit, going to multiple different places.
Mm-hmm.
Then I finally got to Pennsylvania, December 2013. So basically, yeah, right on the head. I basically was on that compound for 2 years when I had to go to the box for a year.
Okay. So my question to you is, you'd already had an experience of prison. Different areas, different types of experiences, if you will, but like you had already formulated, I guess, an opinion about it, right? Like you had a factual basis, like there was something with which you could gauge what the experience was, right? But how do you think it, because jail, prison, whatever, however you want to categorize it, I think changes a person to some extent. Not necessarily for the good, not necessarily for the bad, because everybody is different. But how do you think the two different types of experiences that you had while you were incarcerated affected you as a person? Like spending so much time by yourself. How do you think that affected your mental health, or how did that change you?
Me personally, it didn't change much because I don't mind being a loner for one.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. I like my space. And I tried to stay on the positive side of that because I'm very cerebral anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I tried to keep it on the positive side by saying, I needed this time to reflect and really put things in better perspective. Instead of allowing these people to try to put this in front of me as a punishment that I did something wrong, knowing I didn't. I sat there and looked at it like, I know I didn't do nothing wrong. So how can I use this time to figure out the things that I couldn't figure out with the distractions of being in the population? And me being a writer, that's around the time when I really started writing again. Mm-hmm. I wrote a movie in there. I wrote, a bunch of songs, bunch of business ideas and everything. You get what I'm saying? So when I was on the compound, it was hard because for one, I'm a tutor, so it's taking up time. Then, other extracurricular activities as far as, playing ball and just being with the homies and everything. And also I was studying for fitness certifications and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So I was able to do my time comfortably and stay busy, but I was jail busy.
Got it.
I wasn't Lexx 911 busy. And I actually used that 11 months in the shoe to be Lexx 911 busy. To be me personally, like even outside of Lexx 911, myself busy, because I was able to, like I said, finally tap into the creative side that I wasn't able to on the compound. And I was also to tap into myself spiritually, being, because there's one thing being in prison and being separated from the world, but being in the prisons where you're basically locked in the bathroom for this long and you're super separated, it's like being buried alive. You know what I'm saying? Like if a bomb went off, I might be in the safest place, period. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I always tell people, prison is like the next best thing to being dead, or next worst thing to being dead. You know, out of
Interesting.
sight, out of mind. And that really plays on your mental when you're in there, because you really feel super shut out from the world and from your family and from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You might get one phone call every 30 days. You know, you might write a letter and it might take a whole week to leave. And then by the time your people get it, it's going to take whatever time it takes them to finally write back. Then another week or so, you might get a letter, you know, once every 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you feel so separated from like life, period. You have to really figure something out mentally. It
Okay.
fucks a lot of people up. Me personally, I don't see any negatives that it had on me.
Okay.
You know, unless somebody like my son be like, no, yeah, you be tripping, because I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like, but I've seen it happen. I've seen people have anxiety attacks. I've seen people just be straight burnt out after that. And I get to a whole nother spot and see them and be like, yo, what happened to them?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, ain't no man supposed to be locked up and no shit like that. It's basically like a cage.
So since you mentioned like communicating with like family and people outside, I'm gonna go to one of the questions somebody sent in. Uh, did you have support from your family? Were they able to see you? For example, someone who is transferred upstate but is from the city and family can't access transportation. So what was your interaction with your family like, I guess is what she's getting at.
We stayed in touch. You know, you have the phone, but in the feds you only have a certain amount of minutes you can use a month.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have an email that you also pay for too, and that is basically unlimited. As long as you have money on it, you can. The email is charged by the amount of time. So we stayed in touch. As far as visits, um, being though mine started in North Carolina, being from New York, my family in New York. You know, the county time, they'd tell you, hey, 20 minutes a visit on a phone in a big window. Me personally, I told my family, you don't have to come see me. I don't want you to drive all the way from New York to see me for 20 minutes to talk to me on the phone with a glass in front of us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. My moms and my grandmothers and all, and my wife and everybody, they know I'm good. They just, when it comes to that, they just know I physically, they know I can take care of myself, and mentally they speak to me enough to know like I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? When I finally got to the compound and I see my family and I see my kids for the first time, it was a shock, you know, kind of, because I ain't seen my kids in about a year
I was gonna ask how
in the
long.
beginning. The worst part of my bid was when I started that December 1st, 2015, when I went to the box for that 11 months. Things got complicated because basically my family, my wife, kids, they basically relocated
Mm-hmm.
that June. Prior to that, they moved down to Atlanta. So my whole plan was to get transferred to be closer to them. But what happened was I got caught up in the bullshit. They threw me in the box for a year, then sent me in the opposite direction. At the same time, I have an appeal going on, so it's just like, all right, got a few dollars. We can get you here, but everybody wants you to do the appeal because everybody wants you home sooner. So it's just like the traveling and everything was like, it was an inconvenience.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just more or less like, look, give me a few months, I'm gonna get a transfer and I'm gonna get there. But I didn't see my wife and my kids for damn near almost 3 years.
Jesus Christ.
I seen them June 2015. The next time I seen them was holiday time, December 2017. That's when I left. I was in Ohio for about, I think, 14 months. And then I finally got transferred to Atlanta and I was able to get a visit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that was a trying time for me because, you know, I got days when I'm just acting and I just ain't got time for nobody's shit.
Now,
You miss your kid.
was that before you did the box or no? Like,
No, that was right after.
okay, so you
Yeah.
were able to see them after you did the box.
Not right after. before I went to the box, I got my visits.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the box for that 11 months, and then I went through the transit and going to Oklahoma and all that other bullshit, and then finally getting to Ohio. I got there, I think October 2016. I didn't transfer from Ohio to Atlanta until December 2017. That's when I finally seen them.
Okay. Are you able to get visits while you're in the box?
You are limited.
Mm-hmm.
Fed visits is like 6, 7, 8 hours or something like that.
Okay.
On the weekend, it'll probably be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and on holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got put in the box, they changed the visits for us. Now it's not on the weekends because they don't want us to be on the visit floor as the regular inmates. So they changed it to like a Monday or Tuesday to make an inconvenience. Right. So it's just like, how you expect me to get a visit if my wife is working and my kids is in school on these days?
Intentional.
And me,
That's intentional. That there's no other logic to that.
They do that. And you got some dudes that don't care and they be on the phone like, you got to get up here, but I'm just not that dude. I'm not going to tell you to miss days from work knowing how much money I took off the table by being locked up. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell my kids to miss school knowing that I just separated myself from y'all and not able to give y'all as much as I need to give y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you handle what you got to handle and daddy going to be all right. I'm going to be straight. You know what I'm saying? I just hope you understand what we're going through. And you can look at it like me and we know that, all right, soon we're going to see each other again. So that's where I was with my family.
So, go ahead. You can finish your thought.
Yeah, but that was the hardest part of my whole bit was that 2.5 years and change when I didn't see him.
So, since you kind of brought it up, like, how do you discuss it with your kids? Like, how do you explain? Well, how old are your children, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, right now my son is 18.
Okay.
And my daughter right now she's 9. When I left, my son was 11 and my daughter was 2. So my son, he always been on the right page as far as communication with me because I don't hide much from him.
Okay.
He was smart and I'm just an open book with him. My daughter, she was just too young and green, naive to know what anything was about. Mm-hmm. But when I finally explained to her, even when she used to come to the visit floor, she'd look around, she wouldn't get it. But I explained to her in 2017 what I was going on, because now she's about 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And it was just something simple. It was a simple conversation like, do you know the cops and robbers thing? And she's like, yeah. I said, all right, so what is the cops? What is the police? Oh, police people who arrest people. All right, who do they arrest? The bad guys. Okay, cool. And then what do they do with the bad guys? Oh, they put them in jail. Okay, cool. Basically, daddy was the bad guy. And the police arrested me and they put me away. So she goes from that to, what did you do? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm an open book for them. I was like, oh, well, daddy needed money and I took some money that wasn't mine. So, I had to, handle the consequences. And
makes sense to me.
It's crazy. Yeah. And it's easy for her to grasp, especially because her response was probably the strongest thing that I've heard from anybody since I was locked up. But it was just like my daughter, she sat there and she looked and she thought about it. And she was just like, but we don't care about no money. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And if you just needed the money, why you just couldn't get it from mommy or grandma or something? You know what I'm saying? It was just the simplicity of a child's mind just always works because the simplicity in life is the way to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just sucks how you get older and things become less simple. It's like we complicate things as we get older.
And we do that to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I heard my daughter say that, I laughed and I was just like, it makes sense. But like if an adult would have told me that, I'm like, man, you don't shut the
Right.
fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Sha Tinka have conversations like this with me. You know what I mean? Sha be like, yo, Lexx, man, I used to tell you. I'm like, yo, Sha, leave me alone, man. What the fuck you talking about, nigga? I need this bag. What do you mean? But when I hear that from her, it's just like, yeah, you're right. Next time I need some money, I'm gonna ask my mom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because that beat's going out there and doing something stupid any day. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's just funny, but like that was the ill conversation I had with her. So she kind of grasped that the best way possible.
So,
And then after that, things with communicating with her got a little bit easier.
mm-hmm.
And it got a little bit tricky because now she got different type of questions.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because there was one point when my daughter asked me why I didn't want to live with them no more.
Mm.
So that was kind of hard to, difficult to deal with because I had to explain to her, like, that's not what it is. I don't want you to think that daddy don't want to be there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because she can get the whole cops and robbers thing, but a child that young would never understand, but why you got to be away for so damn long?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they get in trouble, they get punishment, and it's like a couple of days, no video games, it's down to third. Like, wait, what do you mean? Like you just disappeared for like wild years? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. There's a certain difference, and that's where the kid logic don't really pay off. Because it's not that easy, even though it's to them that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. The kids the kids is the soft spot. Even man, that was
the hardest.
Yeah,
hardest part of my career.
I don't even have any fucking kids. I got a dog, but I mean, I got there are children in my life that I do love and care about and cherish, and just like trying to just answer normal basic questions about things, you know what I mean? And it's just like the care you put into explaining something mundane. Like my pseudo goddaughter FaceTime me and we were talking about like adverbs and adjectives because she's like, yo, I'm having trouble in English, blah, blah, blah. I was like, baby girl, I got you in English. We can talk about it. Math, I ain't the one. English, I got you. What's the deal? And so I'm trying to think about appropriate ways to explain things, and it's like you realize how unimportant it is when it comes to, people and families that have to explain drug addiction to kids, that have to explain, right, homelessness to children, that have to explain why one parent is home and one isn't, why your mother and father aren't married anymore, just shit like that. And it just, a lot of it puts shit in perspective. So I commend y'all to have these difficult conversations with kids. I don't know.
Yeah, I still have them to this day. My daughter has something bright to ask me every day.
Yeah, that shit don't turn off. But what was the trial like for you?
Well, I mean, really, it was just the county time. Nobody on my case, nobody went to trial.
Okay.
Like with the feds, they got a 97% winning rate. You get what I'm saying? Like they don't come to you unless they got enough to be like, all right, look, no matter what happens, this is what we got, and you're gonna have to face something. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? My approach was a bit different. My approach was, well, y'all got what y'all got, so I'll see you there. I've had a co-defendant whose approach was, well, I can give you this. And, they wind up getting home a lot earlier. Mm-hmm. And then I had co-defendants who cared to try to explain. Me personally, I fucked up. This is what you got. It is what it is. It's no changing that no matter what I tell you. So I did not care to sit down with the police and even try to plead my side of the story, because all they're doing is trying to get you to say something that's going to implicate something on someone else. They're not talking to you to try to help you. If they cared, they would have never arrested you. They'd have pulled up to your house and had to sit down and let you know, like, hey, look, listen, we know you're committing crimes, but we don't want to take you to jail. So tighten up. But that's not what they're doing.
Right.
Once they got you, all right, what can we get out of this? Can we get others? You know what I'm saying? And for me, and I guess you would say that trial period was simple. It was I got in there in January. They sent me they sent me a couple pleas. One was a telling plea, the first one. I shot that back like y'all can kiss my ass. The second one was something similar to it, like, okay, your co-defendants basically are saying that you ain't have too much. Well, this is what my lawyer said. My co-defendants basically took up for me saying that I basically ain't have much to do with anything, which would show in the evidence. But these dickhead people looking at it like maybe he's the main guy and they're trying to protect him.
Okay. Like it's a movie.
You know what I'm saying? So they try to make it a little bit harder on me. Like, we're not doing nothing for you unless you do this. So it was more or less like me telling my lawyer, give me a plea or something like that, because I really don't have nothing to say to them. Mm-hmm. So that's what they did. So by April, I was already in my plea agreement to take the time that I was going to get at sentencing. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the other guys, they was able to sit down with these people and explain to them whatever it is that they wanted to explain. So my pre-trial was more or less stressing over wondering how much time I was going to actually get.
Got it.
Because the feds do shit a little different. You know, if it was state, the state could have been like, you know what? Your name wasn't in there too much. You ain't really have. I'm gonna give you a slap on the wrist. I'll give you 2 years or something like that. But with the feds, everything's like a point system.
Got it.
And all the facts from your case, they add up, and it's a guideline that they have to follow. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, if you got $200 that's sitting here that's not yours, they go on the money scale to say, okay, $100, $200. Okay, $200 is worth 3 months.
Got it.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when they add up everything on the case and they see that the case was over $600,000, they say, okay, cool. Boom, this is a 14-point enhancement with a 6-point enhancement because it's a conspiracy because it's a few guys. Then we're going to give them another 2-point enhancement because it's sophisticated means. Then we're going to give them another 2-point enhancement because it's possession of it all. See, they break it down into detail and they give you time for every little detail. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like getting booked for a gun, and then they book you for the clip, then they book you for the bullets, and then if you got caught red-handed with the gun in your hand, they're gonna book you for every finger that's on it. You get what I'm saying? It's just like that's how stupid that they do.
It compounds.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like compounding interest, but not in your favor.
Yeah. So being that it was a conspiracy, no matter, even if the evidence only shows 30 grand in my hand, the whole conspiracy is over 600. So I got to deal with the whole 600.
Oh, wow. That's
you know what I'm saying? So that's how I was basically sentenced. So my pre-trial was just more or less like trying to, deal with what I knew I was about to go through. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of up and down because there was times when I thought I wasn't going to get that much time. I never thought I was going to get a lot. I just knew I was facing a lot.
Right.
But it was just times when I just really thought, I might just get like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Or shit, my max, I might get 5, and I already did 1. So you only got to do 85% of your time. So I might only have another 2.5 years to do. This is how I'm thinking. But then when I got to trial and then seeing how they started sentencing everybody and everything, it was my turn to get sentenced. And they told me, 96 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was what it was because at the end of the day, I accepted my situation. Like,
do you have any regrets in the way you handled it?
Nah, not at all. That's the only way I could have handled it.
So with all the moving that you did, right? Were there any culture changes traveling to different places and like the way that people in those different areas were? Like inmates and COs?
Yeah, it's different. When I was in Pennsylvania, staff was racist as hell. And you could feel that energy. The inmates was pretty much the same. You had a whole bunch of people from Pittsburgh, Philly, New York, Ohio, Detroit. You had a few people from the South, couple people from Chicago, but the majority, DC, Virginia, but the majority was the more local. Mm-hmm. New York and Philly was probably the biggest, and then you would have Virginia, Maryland, DC. You know, when I went to Ohio, the staff and police was much better. Like that racial tension and that feeling just wasn't there.
That's interesting.
I had like a lot of police and everybody, they just be real cynical. They just think everybody's on bullshit. They just think the worst. When I fresh off the bus and I first pulled up and got there, I felt the automatic relief from that, from the first people that I sat down and talked to. And that made me feel more comfortable, knowing I just got out of a situation to where race played a part, and they basically told me, they was like, look, we don't even know why you're here. You should have went to the other direction and went to a different prison, but don't worry about it. We're going to go about it the way we're supposed to go about it. As long as you do what you got to do while you're here, we're going to get you the way you want to go.
Mm-hmm. How does one go about getting a transfer? Like, you just request do you have to have extenuating circumstances for a transfer? Like, do you have to be married with kids in order to request to be closer to your family? Or like if you were single with cousins or just your parents, would they not give a shit? Like, does it matter?
Now, people use different things. Like, I think on paper, I think the only transfer that you're obligated, I think, is your last 18 months. They're supposed to move you closer to home.
Okay.
And initially, you're supposed to be within, I think, 600 flight miles from home. Mm-hmm. But some guys, they just get shot all the way out to California and be like, what the fuck? But once you get there, basically, you're supposed to wait about 18 months. But it all depends, because there's different ways to get out of there. You got people who use programming as an excuse to go somewhere. Like, yo, y'all got me here wasting my time. I can't do my time because I want to do I want to HVAC. I want to do HVAC, but y'all don't offer that here. Send me to this place. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Or dudes to try to go to a drug program, or they go to a religious program, or medical facilities if they have, something medical that's going on. But somebody that is just doing time and just trying to move, you would have to have a real good caseworker that's going to help push you. Because if you ain't got no reason to move, like for instance, if you got, and it's a point system, like levels, you got penitentiary people, you got mediums, you got lows, you got camps, and it's all points. The higher the points, the higher the security. So if you're somebody that's sitting at, let's say, regular points, and you're supposed to be at a low prison, you stuck at a low prison unless you have a real reason to transfer. If you don't have a reason to transfer, you could be at one spot for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years because your points can't get you lower. They can only get you higher. And you're already close to home probably, or within those 600 miles. You're just going to have to do that time unless you figure out a way to get transferred. You get what I'm saying? Right. Like, you follow? Like, me, my situation, when I was able to finally transfer, when they sent me to Ohio, it was like, look, boom, my address is different. I'm out of that 500, 600 miles. Mm-hmm. They look, they say, yeah. And I said, plus my points is low. My security, like, I shouldn't even be here right now. So they look at that like, okay, cool. Yeah, you're right. Do what you got to do. But you have to give them a certain amount of time.
Got it. Mandatory.
Like, it has to be that 8 months, at least a year. The only time they're getting you out of there sooner is if, like I said, if you got a program, or if a memo was handed down saying, like, look, it's way too crowded. If you got any guys that got points that's supposed to be lower or higher, get them out of there.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? So
okay,
that's how that works.
How do you forge? One of my listeners asked, how do you forge allies when you get to a new prison? Like, and what are your biggest fears when you arrive at a new prison?
To be honest, for somebody like me and a whole lot of other guys like me, when you go into a whole nother prison, you kind of got this little excitement. You know what I'm saying? Because it depends on what kind of time you're on. Because it's almost like transferring from a high school to a whole nother one. Okay. Yo, who am I going to see? Like, I mean, really, that's how it is. Because once you get there, it's not stressful time. Like I said, everybody be on their own time. You got homies. Like, how they do it is demographically. Like, I mean, geographically.
Okay.
If you're from New York, the people from New York is gonna pull up on you like, "What's up?" Wherever you from, they call it cars. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the people that's gonna be, if you're from Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh people they're gonna pull up on you. They might have clothes for you, food and everything for you to get right. But they only do that with people that they know that they're good, paperwork wise. They ain't telling nobody. They ain't on no funny time. Mm-hmm. If you're on funny time, you're in a whole class all by yourself. Nobody wants to deal with you.
So how do they find all of that out?
Because sometimes we got complete strangers. Like when I pulled up to my first spot, I was in a 6-man room. And when they found out where I was from, I had a North Carolina number. But as soon as somebody said something to me and they heard me, they said, "Oh, you from New York?" I'm like, "Yeah." "All right, yo, I'm gonna let your homie know he's right there." Boom. Told one person pulled up on me. "Yo, what's up, homie? You need something? Where you from?" "Yeah, I'm from Queens." "Whoa. Oh, okay. This is your first spot?" I'm like, "Yeah." "All right, boom. This is how it goes. I got a bag for you. I'm gonna bring you the bag. But we on paperwork time. So if you good on that and your paperwork straight, you take the bag, you straight."
What's that mean?
If your shit ain't right, just let niggas know from jump. Me personally, I didn't need no bag, but I took it because that was just the homie thing to do. And you ain't want to raise no flags on niggas even thinking you wasn't right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
But so what is all that? Like, what's the bag mean? What's that?
Huh?
What's a bag? They giving you money for commissary, or they give you like a goodie bag?
What they brought me a sweatsuit. Because when you get there, you only got a khaki suit and you got some China shoes, slippers or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And a t-shirt. And the regular clothes they give you, brown tees and your khakis and heavy ass big Mario brother boots. You know what I'm saying? So basically when they pulled up with me with a bag, I had a sweatsuit, I had some sneakers, I had some basketball shorts. Basically I can go take a shower and get comfortable and not look like I just got off the bus.
Got it.
Deodorant, toothbrush. You got the Christians or whatever religion that you are. They're coming there, bring you a care package. It'll be toothpaste or your toiletries or whatever. Mm-hmm. And food, just to get you until the next day until you're able to shop for yourself.
Okay.
So that's how it was for me the first spot. Now, when I went to the shoe and I was being transferred, how it happened for me there was guys already knew I was on my way. Because you got other guys that's from the prior compound that's speaking to other guys. "Yeah, yo, the homie about to come through there, man. Like, he good."
Okay.
You know. So when I pulled up, I had people that was meeting me like, "Yo, nah, what's up, boy? Like, I got you." You know what I'm saying? But then there's other guys that might be there that don't know you, that's not familiar, that you can sit down with, like, "Yeah, this is my paperwork. This is who I am." Ain't telling nobody. Like, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was into sports. I was into playing ball at my first spot. So that's how a lot of the guys from the other states knew who I was when I got there. So they embraced me different, like homie, even though they ain't know me, but the good guys from the other spot told them about me, and plus I could play ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's like the fun part. That's, like I said, not fun part, but it's just like you're not stressed out like, "Oh, I'm the new kid in the school. One of these niggas gonna beat me up." Like, you're not thinking that.
Okay.
You're just wondering, damn, I wonder how big the compound is. I wonder who my cellies is going to be. Damn, is the TV room going to be open after 11? I wonder if they got weights. And being I play ball, I'm like, damn, I wonder if niggas here play ball. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if niggas here rap. You know what I mean? It's just, you wondering how these next months is going to be. You're not really worried about, I mean, you got guys that be worried about shit, but that's because they no good. But then leaving from there and going to Atlanta, which was a camp for me. I've never been to a camp. You hear about the extra freedom and all that with the camp and all the extra shit that goes on at the camp. Oh, I can't wait to get there. So I'm definitely excited. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to see my family. I'm about to wild out. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a sense of like excitement when you move into a whole nother spot, especially because it's prison, but nobody want to be stuck in the same place forever.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're reminiscing. So is there anything that you miss about jail or prison?
Nah, hell no. Hell no. See, what I appreciate about that time though is, the handful of good people that I came across.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you coming across a whole bunch of people that, from the same walks of life as you, same circumstance. Like we at the bottom.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a certain level of camaraderie there when you build with somebody. You know what I mean? Because I got friends that I grew up with my whole life and they ain't never been in no situation like that with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm the only child. I didn't grow with brothers and sisters in the house. So now I'm living with other men. I got 4 other guys in my room. You build it's that camaraderie you build with them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
A shared
I got
experience.
a
I get it.
lot, huh?
It's a shared experience. It's a shared
Yeah,
experience.
and it's just ill because you know they can relate. And to this day, you know, a handful of them that's home now, we speak. You know, and everybody's on the same time and everybody's on the same focus. And it's like if somebody see me post something and they feel like, um, yo, this nigga Nine might be stressed out, they're gonna be the first one to hit me and
Check
say
in.
something like, yo, bro, stay focused, woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? Instead of a lot of these niggas I grew up with.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? The people that you grew up with, they ain't on social media. They just want to sit there and gossip about it with a whole bunch of other motherfuckers when they think you going through something.
Okay.
But the other homies that been there with you and they know what you about and they know your intentions, when they see that and they think you slipping, they call you like, yo, bro, you all right?
Do you think it's also because maybe they just understand it
Yeah,
better?
absolutely.
Like, because you have that shared experience, whereas someone that may not have had that experience doesn't know what, like, certain triggers might be or, like, what certain signs may be.
Yeah, it plays a part, being able to relate. But then you got dudes who actually did that time before or been in prison in any kind of way before and they home, but they just like so separated from that. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't matter to them. It's just like you just got people who just really don't care.
Okay, so
You know
last
what
2
I'm saying?
questions for you. What's your best jail story? Whether it's one of your own stories or the best shit you heard from somebody else.
Like that can go either way. But I guess the best way I can explain one of the best stories I heard, without exploiting what still goes on there. I think one of the best stories I heard was one of my guys, man. He older dude, he was sentenced to life. And you know, he kept his nose in the books, the you know, the legal books. And he learned the law and he fought his case. And he fought it for years. And he went from having life to having 25 years, to breaking it down to being immediately released.
Oh, wow.
Now, he gave the system a lot of time, but it sure does beat having a life sentence.
Sure shit does.
Yeah, especially when you in going through them years and you think you're never going to get home to your family, and then one day they just knock on your bump or they call you to the office like, yo, get your shit, you're being released. You're like, what? And you're not expecting it. So I think all those stories is always the best, the release stories. What goes on in the compound and the extra perks that people get and the shit that they get away with, it's cool, but that's really only jail cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Shati, he's another one that can co-sign. He know how cool my last couple of years in prison been because of the certain perks I had. But it's only really cool to me and everybody else that's with me. And other people like that's in contact with me, they be like, oh yeah, this nigga living. But really, it's just like jail living. It's like,
What kind of perks are those? What are jail perks?
I mean, all right, now they vary. Like you get guys who get favors. You got guys who get things. Like it's not it ain't no secret. Everything that's on the streets is in prisons, from weapons to phones to food that you ain't supposed to have, clothes you ain't supposed to have, all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? So you just got some guys who actually be able to just, you know, get certain things, and they do that. You know what I'm saying? You got guys who just, you know, like they're able to see they ladies and get some shit off right quick, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just it's prison is like it's just I don't like I said before I got to explain it, I really don't want to speak too much onto what still goes on.
Copy.
You know what I'm saying?
So then the next question.
Mm-hmm.
So my last question for you is, everybody always asks, what message would you give to kids about being in jail? But I'm more curious, like, what would you tell other grown people about being in jail? Because you got grown people fucking up. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like there are more interventions. I mean, there are interventions at every level, and there are different explanations for every level, right? Like, you've got programs for like elementary school kids, and you got programs for like young adults, like kids that's in high school, whatever the case may be. But then you also have certain programs that are for adults. Like across the different levels, like what would your messaging be, and like who would you direct your energy towards?
I always direct my energy towards the younger. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they need it the most. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the young guys out here, young girls, like they just don't have the guidance. And that seems to always play a part in a lot of people's lives who fuck up. They just don't have no direction. They don't have no guidance. You know, so that's why like outside of home, the kids are usually real close to their coaches or their best teacher, shit like that, because they're getting the guidance and shit that they're not getting from at home. So I had a conversation with Erica 4 years ago, and she wanted me, to speak to the kids, and she wanted me to kind of put my hands on to like certain situations that was going on in the hood. But my stance on it was like just certain things I cannot touch and I just won't. But if we're talking about the kids, then I can do whatever it is you need me to do. You get what I'm saying? So my message will always be to the young and unguided is basically like, I can't tell you what to do and what not to do and tell you don't be out there and living whatever lifestyle you're living, but just know nothing lasts forever.
Right.
And whatever it is that you decide to do that comes with consequence, know that whatever it is that you decide to do comes with consequence, and just, be accountable for it. And always have a plan. You get what I'm saying? Because like shit, truth be told, a lot of these cities been built off cocaine. A lot of these cities been built off illegal shit. You know what I'm saying? Like fucking government is the most crookedest shit ever. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, then you're gonna be out there. You got dudes that's been hustling and selling weed for 30 years. It's obvious that just don't make no sense.
Right.
Have a plan. If you're going to do this to get X amount of money to put into something a little bit more lucrative and straightforward, then do that. Don't just be out there just freelancing and then doing it and putting it out there, because when they come get you is a whole nother thing. They're gonna lose family, you're gonna lose friends, you're gonna lose a whole lot. And some shit you can never gain back.
Right.
So my message was just, nothing lasts forever.
I feel like that could apply to adults as well. That could apply to anybody across any spectrum and in any situation, not necessarily just illegal activity. I mean, that's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty well rounded. So,
yeah, those words basically, is in the Bible. You know what I mean? And like I said, it always comes back to simplicity of life. Like, you can apply that to different areas, like you just said. Like, it doesn't have to be with crime and all that. And I don't mean to say it like, yo, if you're going to crime, just know this, that. No, it just mean period with life, because you could just be doing anything. You could be playing ball. You never know. You could be the best player in the city, but you tear your ACL or something like that, and you won't play ball never again, and you won't be getting this check that you've been dreaming about or been putting all your eggs in that batch. You know what I'm saying? So just kind of like always live life with securing yourself each step of the way. You go buy a car, you put insurance on it. You go buy a expensive jewelry, you put insurance on it. Put insurance on your life. And insurance might just be, don't run around here trying to like just portraying this lifestyle thinking you could just get a job if you need one. That's your security. That's your insurance. If this shit don't work, at least I still got a job that's paying these bills. You know what I'm saying? Just always secure yourself.
And what would you say to, now that you are post-release, right? What would you say to somebody that's either going in or on their way out, what do you think like a better time to reach somebody is? Like, did you plan for what you would do after release?
Yeah. A
Okay,
lot of people don't have plans though.
so you had a plan. So do you think that it's important to, I guess, inspire someone, if you will, before they finish, or like when they first get in, or when they're about to be out?
Both. I didn't mind doing that. Like when I was on the compound, right? I always attracted the younger crowd, you know, the little homies. I always attracted them. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm a little bit older, so it's just like they come to me and they come talk to me. They just come in. I tell them, you know, I'll break it down real quick. Like, how much time you got? All right, look. Well, you won't have to tell you that because what you're doing now, you might make it harder for yourself to get through this time. A nigga might be on the phone beefing with his girl, going acting all crazy, cursing out. Fuck you. You ain't got to bring my kids into my life. You ain't hurt nobody but yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so sometimes you got to like just give them little quick little and they be straight. You know what I'm saying? But then you meet the ones where they on their way out and you listening to them and they talking to you, and some of them ain't got no plans for nothing. And they just sound wild reckless, like they're going right back out there to sell dope. You know what I'm saying? Then you got some that have plans, and you know, but you asking from a post prison perspective, like if I had a chance to say something to them now,
yeah,
basically, you know, going in, you know, you definitely got to let them know like it ain't that hard. You know, I stopped somebody from committing suicide one time. They was about to hang themselves because they felt like they couldn't do the time. And just like I basically told him, like I would tell anybody that's in it with the time that they got, who think they not gonna be able to do it. There's been many, many, many men before you that did it. And there's many, many men right now that's still doing it. You ain't the only one. So don't look at your 10, don't look at your 15 and 20 like life is over. It ain't. You know what I'm saying? Get it done. You got the street. Like God only put you in position that you know you're gonna get yourself through. You know what I'm saying? But I also feel like guys that's on their way home need to hear certain things too, because a lot of guys take it for granted. It's easy to get home, especially when you was away for a while, and get lost and get sucked right back into the system. It's so easy. Like you got this cloud over you now.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And even if when it's not crime wise, it's just that the most essential thing in life is time. So when you get a lot of it taken from you, man, it's gonna affect you when you get back. It affects me still. I ain't do 1,000 years, but it affects me in ways like it still affects me at home.
How?
Like I told you, I left. My son was 11. My daughter was 2. He's 18 now. My daughter's 9. So it's like now I'm trying to get, you know, I'm still trying to learn them. They still trying to learn me because now I got a young man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even my woman, same thing with her. You know, being able to accept where you are in life is going to help your patience a lot, you know, because when you out there and you're making so much money and then you go to prison, you come home and things are different, you might not be able to handle that mentally. You might not want to go get a job that's paying $15 an hour because you used to making 15,000 a day or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it it always come easier when you accept.
So how long you been back home?
I've been 10 toes down since April, but that was a process too because I wasn't home. You know, I went to a halfway house first. Then I went from a halfway house to wearing an ankle monitor and having limited movement, you know, and having to get permission to go to church or permission to go to my son's graduation, just like little things like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I want to go to the gym. Can I go to the gym for 3 hours today? It's like living like that. So, but I've been off of that and off the ankle monitor since November. So it's like now I'm just free to just do whatever it is I want to do.
Yay. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So what are you working
And
on now? What are your current goals, and where can the people find you? What should people be checking out, etc., etc.?
Well, music wise, I'm building on some. I'm working on some new content. A lot of visuals, a lot of music, of course. I'm working on a documentary.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah.
About what? Like jail stuff or busy
Basically,
stuff? You
nah,
stuff?
nah. See, I got people that wants me to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but that's always just been. She's like, it's behind me. Like, to be honest, like I don't give a fuck about that prison shit anymore.
You're
You know
welcome.
what I'm saying? Like, I did it. It's over with. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And you would hear about it with little things that I mentioned, but that doesn't mean I'm going to make an album talking about everything about prison. Like, I don't care for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the documentary, like, basically is going to give more of me to the people because, you know, there's been a lot of people that's been following me for years that know me for certain things.
Okay.
They might only know me from my 80s baby song, or they might only know me from Queens the Movement, or they might just know me from the No Rap Money. It's different things that they know, and they done came on board at a certain time, and they missed a lot. And they just, you know, a lot of people don't know I was in the movie. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know I had a deal before. A lot of
What
people don't
movie?
know where my music and everything started. A lot of people don't know my upbringing and where I came from in Queens and everything that I've been through. They just know a little bit from the music, but they really don't know. You know what I'm
What
saying? I
movie
like,
was it?
for example, I posted something for a throwback, and it was the 80s baby song record that a lot of people knew me from. And it was somebody that I was very familiar with that's followed me for years that told me, yeah, son, I never knew that was you.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So it's just like what I want to do is this documentary is basically based on my life and everything from when I was a child,
Okay.
where my family came from, you know, my sacrifice. I made a lot of sacrifices in life, you know, dropping out of school, college, playing ball, music for kids, like just little things. And I just feel like I said in the beginning, like everybody's success story is a little different. And I feel like the story that I have is a story that needs to be heard because I'm not the only one that's been through this. I'm not the only person that sits at a certain age wondering if they can still make something happen.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
Okay. And what movie
You
were you
know,
in? You said you were in a movie.
yeah, I was in Never Die Alone.
Okay.
That was a Donald Goines book with DMX and David Arquette, a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's a nice breakdown. It's, it's like a behind the music thing, and it's just going to give like people like me,
It
you know
sounds
what I'm saying?
interesting.
I'm working on a lot of music and a lot of videos, a lot of visuals. You know, I've been away for a while, so it's almost like hit a reset button. It's like start all over. I'm a brand new artist now.
All right. You
I'm
got
back
you got
to
plenty of time to come up with a lot of ideas. Now you can like put them
yeah.
into. You can bring them to life. You can make them happen now. So where can
Basically,
people
that's what I'm
follow you
doing.
to keep
Hmm?
up to date with when your documentary airs and when I guess if you do behind the scene, all that kind of shit? Like where do people find you and reach out
Well,
to you? Like if somebody
well,
wanted to have you speak to an organization or just reach you for some reason.
yeah, the easiest way to find out what's going on with me will be Instagram. I'm basically active on that. I give all my updates and what's going on with me on there, and that will be at Lexx 911. That's LEXX, the number 9 ELEVEN. Um, and that's the best way to find out anything. I think for anybody right now, that's the best way to reach out to your following and give them updates on what's going on with you. Um, so yeah, you everybody will see when the music is coming, when uh the other projects is coming. Like I said, the documentary and a few other things that I'm working on. Um, but that's basically that's my plan. Just everything that I was, you know, visualizing on them long nights when I was away.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to, just just
Make it
bring it to
happen.
fruition.
Is the
Just
documentary the script you wrote, or is that something separate?
no, that's something separate. That's that's um that's something that I'm still trying to figure out what direction I want to go in. A
Okay.
couple people read it and they fell in love with it, and they said I should turn it into a book. But me, I want visuals. I'm such a
You could do
like a
both.
visual
Multiple
type of
streams of
person.
income. Don't cut it. Don't limit that shit. Let
No,
it
no,
do all of it.
I totally get it, but it's just like how I want to present it and what do I want to push for first. You know what I'm saying? Like you could do both, you know, but what is going to be my approach? Like what is going to be my direction initially on getting it done? You know, I want to do the visuals of it for it. So that's something that I've been talking to one of my homies out there in Brooklyn. That I'm gonna go sit down and talk to when I'm in New York in the next couple of weeks, probably. Because he's in the middle of shooting a movie and everything now, so he's interested in it because he read it. I had people from Virginia, from Jersey, and Baltimore read it, and they were just like, "Yo, son, you got me feeling like I just sat in the car and drove through Queens with you." You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and that script that I wrote is basically loosely based on the whole no rap money situation with me and my co-defendant and everything that was going on with us leading up to prison.
Okay.
You know, but it's like I said, it's loosely based, and you know the drama is added. The storyline is added to it with a whole bunch of other things that's going on. So it's real tough.
So it seems like you're gonna have a lot actually happening. And I'm excited to see what comes of it. So I'm certain that there are other people who've been following you for a very long time that are very excited to see what it is you come out with next.
Yeah.
So thank you
it
very much.
Be fun.
I appreciate you being on my podcast. I definitely think that entails a lot of travel. That's doing a lot, being in all those different places. So I appreciate you for spending your time with me here. Thank you again.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.
I'm going to stop the recording on here, right? Huh? You said what? Oh, well, right. Okay, so thank you again to Lexx for this episode of Travel and Shit. I'm your host. Don't forget that there are visuals. The visuals always drop the day before the audio. So if you are interested in seeing our conversation, you can also hear the podcast episode before it airs on Thursdays. Just go to DCarry or travelandshitpodcast.com and or you could just go to my YouTube. Just search out Travel and Shit. Rocket science, guys. All right. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It is one that I very much so enjoyed myself. All right. See you next week. Bye.